What's up, my people? Miss Bornhorst here. In case you forgot, which, let's be real, you can't forget your favorite teacher. But I am super excited to be here with you guys today. And unfortunately, even though we can't be together in person, this is still a great opportunity for us. And I'm excited for this new journey that we're about to go on with online learning. And so, before we jump into our lesson today, I'm going to be with you and be teaching you a reading lesson about asking and answering questions while we are reading text. Before we do that, though, I want to make sure that we have our minds right. And so we're going to watch this video here. And as we watch this video, I want you to think about something that this presenter said that stood out to you, something that you connected with or you could relate to. And afterwards, we're gonna discuss what we just saw and how we can use this to help us as we move forward in this online learning together. So here is the video again, listening for something that you can connect with, something that stood out to you. All right. So after watching that video, I want you to think for a minute, what's something that you connected with or that you could relate to? Maybe it was that you related to him when he was talking about his struggles with reading and wanting to give up because he couldn't do it and he felt like he should be. Or maybe it was there's another activity that you've had those similar feelings, like a sport or a music interest that you've struggled with before. Take a moment now, and I want you to think about that time. Okay, so what comes to mind for Miss Bornhorst, and when I think about this growth mindset and this fixed mindset in our current situation, um, is that right now we're in a time in history and where no one really knows what's going to happen. No one's really certain of or has really experienced this in our lifetime, and so um, with schools closed. We could have had that mindset of saying, "Oh, well, school's closed. We're just going to stop here. There's no need for us to continue. We can't really do anything about it." But that would be that fixed mindset. Instead of doing that, we're going to take this challenge, the situation that we have, and we're going to try to make the best of it. We're going to try to learn and become better because of the challenge. And so we're going to have a growth mindset in which, yeah, this is going to be challenging. Miss Bornhorst had no idea how to record herself, record a lesson, create a YouTube channel. I know y'all are professionals, but I'm old, so it's hard for me to do that. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to have a growth mindset and I am going to do my best to learn how to present these online lessons, learn how to connect with you over the internet, and we're still going to learn. And so I want to ask you guys that even though that this may be difficult, maybe you're struggling to connect with the technology or comment on some of these posts. I want you to know, like, we're going to get through this. And as our presenter said in the video, we might not have it yet, but we will, right? We're going to work together. We're going to have this mindset of growing and getting the most out of our learning that we can for the rest of this semester. And so what I ask of you guys, and what I'm asking of myself, is that as we go throughout this journey, that we have that mindset of a champion, that we are going to continue to grow, that we're going to learn from the struggle, and we're going to become better because of it. And so if you will, please, I'm asking you guys, have that mindset. Let's be champions together. So with that being said, I want to kind of go over what some of this learning is going to look like throughout these lessons, because I'll be presenting videos to you. Miss James, Miss Shadow, Mr. Shortridge, Miss Wynn, Miss Avis, and Miss Strong. We are all going to be here together presenting lessons to you each week. And so as we go throughout these lessons, the third grade team, we've all come up with some kind of norms or some expectations that we have for you guys as you are watching these videos and working on this work with us. And so if you'll look at our first norm is that we focus. And so it's kind of hard sometimes when you're watching videos. I know Miss Bornhorst is guilty of it. When you watch videos, it's kind of easy to space out sometimes and get distracted by what your little brother's doing in the corner, or maybe you hear someone playing music or something's going on outside. What I want you guys to do is I want you guys to make sure that you're in a space that you can focus, right? So make sure no one is around you, if possible. Make sure it's as quiet as possible. If you need to put earbuds in or headphones on, whatever's going to help you learn and get the most out of this. So I want you to stay focused. I want you to watch and I want you to listen to help you learn as much as possible. The second expectation or the second norm is to rewind, right? Now, if you're confused on something or you need something repeated, the beauty of this online learning is that you can rewind it. You can go back and you can hear what Miss Bornhorst said again. And you know what's even better is you can hear it again and Miss Bornhorst doesn't have to repeat herself over and over and over again. It's beautiful, right? So if you're confused or you don't understand something, just rewind it. Listen to it again, right? And then number 3, you're going to record your learning on your paper. So in just a minute here, I'm going to show you how to get up your note catcher all set up so that you can take some notes and that you can do some learning today. And so what I want you guys to do as we're going throughout this video is I'll tell you certain points when you need to pause the video, when you need to write stuff down. I want you to record that on your note catcher, and eventually I'll tell you about how you're going to send that work to me so that I can see your learning. So third expectation is that you're recording, you're taking notes. That's what's going to help you learn. And then finally, 4, that's the reflection. That's the big part of this online learning. You want to reflect on your learning in the comment section of each video. So I know y'all have seen YouTube. You know that underneath the videos, there's a section for you to comment and leave your responses. Well, at the end of the video, our exit ticket today is going to be what you're going to post in our comments. And so when you post in your comments, there's going to be 3 things that you need to do, and I will review these with you later. The first one, you got to put your name. Obviously, right? Just like we do in class, you need to put your name so that Ms. Bornhorst and the other 3rd grade teachers know whose response it is. Number 2, you also need to make sure that you respond in complete sentences, right? So just as you would be expected to do as you're speaking or writing in class, you will need to do the same thing on your comment. And finally, you'll also need evidence to support your response. So if you write a complete sentence, but you don't prove it, you don't explain why, no one's going to really care. You don't get your credit, right? We need that evidence to support your thinking. So be sure to do those things as you comment. And again, I'll review those at the end of the lesson when I explain what your exit ticket will be. Now, before we get started, I want to review a few icons that you're going to see throughout this presentation, right? So this first symbol right here, you may have seen it before, I'm sure you have. It means to pause the video. So if you see that symbol, what you're going to do is you're just simply going to go to the corner of your screen, click pause, and do whatever it is that Ms. Bornhorst has told you to do for that part of the lesson, right? The next one you'll see is a pencil. And that means that you are going to need to write something. So typically when I have you pause the video, that's when you're going to be writing on your note catcher that we're going to get set up here in just a moment. Okay, when you see this little brain, this fun guy down here, you guys have seen this on slides when I've taught with you in class. But that means that you're going to need to stop and you're going to need to think about something. So you're not necessarily going to need to write something down. You, of course, can, but it's when you're going to be thinking about a question or a task that I'm giving to you at that time. And then finally, this comment button or this comment symbol right here, that's going to tell you that you need to post your thinking in the comments. And that's that comment section on YouTube that I just mentioned. Okay, and so you'll see those symbols throughout today's lesson as we go through. I'll remind you as we're learning to do those things, but just so that when you see them, you already know what's coming, right? So for today's lesson, what you'll need a pencil, obviously, a piece of paper, and this could be a sheet of notebook paper. It could be in an actual notebook. It could be a piece of printer paper. I don't really care what the paper is, something for you to write your learning on today, right? And then the third thing that you'll need is our text. And you don't need to worry about the text. If you do want the text, you can go on to the SCS website and download all the materials. And I've sent that information to your parents. However, if you do not have access to that, not a big deal because I've put the text in our presentation today. So you can follow along with me in our video. So if you need to, pause this video right here, get your paper, get your pencil, and your text if you have it, and get ready to learn. All right, so if you pause the video, you've got your paper, you've got your pencil. Now we're going to get our note catcher set up. So before we even get started with our learning today, I want you to take a look at this piece of paper over here. I want you to set up your paper just like Ms. Bornhorst did. So at the top, you'll see you've got your name, because remember, I'm going to be looking at your work. So we would need to have your first and your last name. Then you have a section for your do now. The title of our lesson is asking and answering questions, and you want to draw this chart right here, and you want to make sure that you have plenty of space to write in these boxes. Okay, go ahead and write this question. We'll get to this question here in a little bit. So you want this chart on your paper. Then you've got a spot for thinking. We're going to kind of reflect here, and then your exit ticket at the bottom. Now, don't worry so much about the spacing in between each, just as long as you have all of this on your paper and some space in between to write each one. Okay, if you need to go on to the back of the paper, totally fine. So at this time, if you need to, well, you will need to, I want you to click pause on the video, and I want you to get your note catcher set up for the day. All right, welcome back. So just as we always do, we are going to get started with our do now. So on your note catcher, you should have written and started your paper off with a do now section. The question that I want you to answer is this: why is it important to ask and answer questions when we are reading different types of fiction and nonfiction text? Okay, why is it important to ask and answer questions when we are reading different types of fiction and nonfiction text? So right now, what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to pause the video, and I would like for you to write complete sentences on your paper. Why is it important to ask and answer questions when we are reading different types of fiction and nonfiction text? Record your response. Now that you've had time to record your response, I'm hoping that maybe as you were writing your response, you were thinking about the reason and the real reason that we're asking these questions, right? So when we read text, we ask ourselves questions and we go back and we look for those answers to make sure that we understand what we're actually reading. If we can ask questions and then we can use our text to answer them, or we can infer from the text to answer them, then that shows yourself, that shows Ms. Bornhorst, that shows other people that you actually understood what you read. If you ask a question and you don't know the answer, you can't find the answer, you can't figure it out based on the text, that probably means that you're not quite fully understanding what you read, right? So by asking and answering questions, we are able to make sure that we comprehend the text that we're reading. Okay, so today's lesson, our goal for the day, repeat after me, says, I can ask questions about what I read and use details from the text to support my answers. Right? So again, really quick, I hope that you read it with me. Did you? I hope so. It says, I can ask questions about what I read and use details from the text to support my answer. So I want you to think to yourself, what are we going to do today? Okay, and you'll see that I underlined what our goals are for today. So we're going to ask some questions, right? So we're going to read a text today, and we're going to come up with some questions based off of what we read. But we're not going to stop there. We're also going to answer those questions, but we're not just going to make up our answers. You'll notice it says we're going to use details from the text to support our answers, right? Ms. Bornhorst always says you need the evidence from the text. Remember, I don't care what your answer is if you don't use the text to support your answer, right? So we need to go back into the text today to answer the questions that we come up with. Cool beans? Cool beans. All right, so to get us warmed up, we're going to do a quick review here. So I want you to think about, so you remember our little brains here, so you're going to think, right? So think about the narratives, which we know are stories, that you've read from this year. I want you to reflect on the following questions. 1, what is a character? 2, what is a setting? And 3, what is an event? So take a moment now, think about what's a character, what's a setting, what's an event. If you can answer those 3 questions, I want to challenge you, think about a narrative you've read this year, or maybe one that you wrote, and think of a specific character, think of a specific setting, and think of a specific event, right? So take a moment now and think about those things. All right, so now that you've had a moment to think, let's see if you had the correct thinking, right? So I want you to follow along with me as we read this excerpt about characters, settings, and events. It says, stories are made up of characters, settings, and events. A character is a person or animal. Did you get that right? A setting is where and when a story takes place. How about that one? An event is something that happens in a story, right? So did you come up with that as an event? If you did, give yourselves 2 claps and a boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. When reading, you can ask questions about characters, settings, and events. You can also answer questions about those same things. When you answer a question about a story, support your answer with details from the text. This will show that you understand the story. So again, we're going to ask and answer questions to prove that we understood what we read. And our questions today are going to focus on three things. They're going to focus on the character, the setting, or the event, right? So what we're going to do right now is Miss Bornhorst is going to model what this is going to look like, okay? And so you'll see we have a short little excerpt here, a text here, and it says at the top, what questions can we ask after reading? Okay, so we're going to read this story. As I read through the story the first time, I want you to enjoy, right? So you don't really need to think too much. Just think about what's happening in the story. What is our character doing? Okay, that's all you need to do this first time I read. So follow along with me as we read this text. It says, Erica was doing her homework. Her pencil rolled off the desk and under the bed. She was peering under the bed, looking for it, when she spotted an old wooden box she had never seen before. How did that get there? She asked herself. When Erica opened it, she saw gold coins glittering in the dim light. Wow, she said. I think it's a treasure chest. All right, so after reading the first time, do you think you have a general idea of what happened in this text, right? So you probably already know our character was Erica. She was working on her homework and then something else happened, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come up with some questions after reading this to help us make sure we fully understand what happened while Erica was doing her homework, right? So if you'll see over here in my little hint box, says hint, think about the character, the setting, and the events. So I want you to think about a question that you can come up with about Erica and about what happened, right? So what questions can you think of to ask about Erica and what happened while she was doing her homework? Again, I'm going to reread this. You're thinking of questions about this text, about Erica and about what happened. It says, Erica was doing her homework. Her pencil rolled off the desk and under the bed. She was peering under the bed looking for it when she spotted an old wooden box she had never seen before. How did that get there? She asked herself. When Erica opened it, she saw gold coins glittering in the dim light. Wow, she said. I think it's a treasure chest. Okay, so Miss Bornhorst, I'm kind of thinking more of a question about what happened, right? So I know she, at the very beginning, if I look back in the text, it says Erica was doing her homework and then her pencil rolled off the desk under her bed, right? Those are the first two sentences. Okay, so then my question is, well, what did she find under her bed, right? Like, did she find the pencil? Did she find something else? I don't know. Okay, so that's one of the questions, that's an event of what happened, right? What did she find? That's an event, a thing that happened. Okay, another question, well, I then figure out that she did find something, right? And I figured out that she thinks that she found a treasure chest. Okay, so my question about that is, well, why does she think that she found a treasure chest? Is there a reason that she thinks that she found treasure? Okay, and so what I would do is I would get in my note catcher, I'm going to come up with these two questions, right? My first question says, what does Erica find under the bed? And then my second question says, why does Erica think she has found a treasure chest, right? Those are the two questions that I could come up with after reading. Okay, well, when you look at this chart, you'll see that now I need details from the text. Remember, our objective today said we're going to ask questions and answer them using details from the text, right? So that's where this is going to go in this column right here. And then finally, we're going to have our answer based off of the information we found in the text, okay? So I want us to focus on this first question right here. It says, what does Erica find under the bed? Well, because it says story details, I'm going to go back into the text. Into the what? Yes, the text, right? So looking for what does Erica find under the bed? Okay, and so when I go in here, I'm going to look and read and find again, what does she find under the bed? When you hear what she found under the bed, I want you to snap twice. Okay, it says Erica was doing her homework. Her pencil rolled off the desk and under the bed. She was peering under the bed looking for it when she spotted an old wooden box she had never seen before. Ooh, 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 do I hear you snapping? I sure hope so, because I just heard what she found under the bed, right? It says, this third sentence says, she was peering under the bed looking for it when she spotted an old wooden box she had never seen before. Okay, so that is the sentence, that is my evidence from the text that tells me what she found. So what I'm going to do in this second column right here is I'm going to write that sentence. That's my evidence. So I took that sentence from the text. She was peering under the bed when she spotted an old wooden box she had never seen before. Now notice again, I put quotation marks around it because it's evidence from the text. I took the text straight from, or took the sentence straight from the text and copied it in my box. So I need to put quotation marks around it so that I know that I got it from the text. Okay, so I want you to pause the video right now. Or I'm sorry, you don't need to write this one down. This one's just for me. I'm modeling for you. Okay, so I would put my evidence here. Well, then in the answer box, that's just kind of like my own words. Can I answer the question using that evidence? So what does Erica find under the bed? Well, when I look at my evidence, it says when she spotted an old wooden box. So what'd she find? Yes, an old wooden box, right? So in that next answer box, all I need to write is she found a wooden box. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, so moving on to our second question. Our second question says, why does Erica think she has found a treasure chest? Okay, so again, can I just come up with this from my own brain, or do I need to go back into the text? If you said go back to the text, you are correct. So let's go back up to our text. Again, we're looking for why does Erica think she found a treasure chest? So again, I'm going to read. If you think that you hear the answer of why she thinks it's a treasure chest, I want you to snap twice. All right. It says Erica was doing her homework. Her pencil rolled off the desk and under the bed. She was peering under the bed, looking for it, when she spotted an old wooden box she had never seen before. How did that get there? She asked herself. When Erica opened it, she saw gold coins glittering in the dim light. Wow, she said. I think it's a treasure chest. Okay, so I'm wondering where you were snapping. Because at first, I know that Miss Bornhorst, and maybe you also did this, would have said, ooh, the last sentence, that tells us why she thinks she found a treasure chest. It says, wow, she said, I think it's a treasure chest. But you would be incorrect, and so would be Miss Bornhorst. And the reason for that is that the question says, why does Erica think she has found a treasure chest? Not what does she think she found? Why does she think that? So this last sentence tells us that she thinks it's a treasure chest, but we need to figure out why does she think it's a treasure chest, right? So if you look at the sentence before this, it says, when Erica opened it, she saw gold coins glittering in the dim light. Well, Miss Bornhorst, I know that when I'm thinking about gold coins, usually when you think about gold coins, that's considered treasure, right? Its coins are very valuable, or it's considered a treasure. And so that is the reason why Erica thinks it's a treasure chest. It's because those gold coins are in the wooden box, right? If there was something else in that wooden box, like pencils or something, she probably wouldn't think it's a treasure chest because pencils aren't valuable. Pencils aren't usually considered treasure, right? So it's that sentence before that tells us that there's gold coins that tells us why Erica thinks that it's a treasure chest. So what I would do is I would copy that sentence again with quotation marks because that's my evidence from the text. So as you can see, I wrote, when Erica opened it, she saw gold coins glittering in the dim light, right? So my answer, why does Erica think she has found a treasure chest? Well, because there's gold coins in it, and gold coins are valuable and usually thought to be treasure, correct? So what I would do in that last box is I would write just that. Gold coins are valuable and are often thought of as treasure. Okay, so as you see, as we went through this, you'll notice Miss Bornhorst, I read the text multiple times, right? First, I read it just for fun. Then I read it and asked questions. Then I read it to find my answers. So 3 times. You're going to do that on your own here in just a minute. Notice, though, the story details, are in quotation marks because they're from where? Exactly, from the text, right? I pulled them straight from the text. The answer, those are my own thoughts based on my evidence. Cool beans? Cool beans. All right, so right now, what I want you to do is I want you to think, which of these questions had an answer in the text, and which one did you have to think about more, right? So if I look back at my questions, it says, what does Erica find under the bed? And two, why does Erica think she has found a treasure chest? So looking at those two questions, which one was straight from the text, right? Like I didn't have to do much thinking. I just had to look in the text and it was like, oh, that's the answer, right? If you said the first question, you would be correct. It says, what does Erica find under the bed? Well, when I look in the text, it explicitly says when she spotted an old wooden box, right? So from the text, I knew immediately she found a wooden box. Now, the second question says, why does Erica think she has found a treasure chest? Well, my evidence says when Erica opened it, she saw gold coins glittering in the dim light. This doesn't say Erica thought it was a treasure chest because blah, 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 right? It doesn't come out and explicitly say why she thinks she found a treasure chest. Instead, you kind of have to infer why she was thinking that, right? We can infer that Erica thought it was a treasure chest because there were gold coins in it. And usually if we see gold coins and they're in a box, we know from past experiences that that could be treasure, right? So this one was a little bit more tricky because we kind of had to infer based on the details and based on what we learned from the text, right? So sometimes the answers will be explicitly in the text. Sometimes you're going to have to make inferences, right? All righty. So at this time, before we move into your practice, I want you to take a little break, okay? And so what we're going to do, you are going to stand up. You're going to do 10 jumping jacks. You're going to do 10 squats. And you're going to do 10 lunges, right? You know, Miss Bornhorst, I can't let you sit there all day long, right? So right now what I want you to do, pause that video. I want you to do 10 jumping jacks, 10 squats, 10 lunges, and then we'll jump, get it, jumping jacks, we'll jump back into our learning. So go for it. All right, welcome back. You feel better? You got that blood flowing? You ready to push through on this last set of text? All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to walk through this process again, and you're going to do this on your own. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through the process, but you're going to do the heavy lifting. You're going to do the thinking. You're going to do the learning and growing of your brain, right? So I want you to take a look at our next text. You'll see right here we've got a picture, and the title of our text says Grandma's Secret, and it's by Cat Williams. It says, based on the title in the illustration, what do you think this narrative will be about? So I want you to think to yourself for a moment. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Based on the picture, so look at what you see here. The title is Grandma's Secret. What do you think this text might be about? Okay, I'd like you to share your predictions either to the wall. You know, in Ms. Bornhorst class, when we practice fluency, we sometimes talk to the wall. It's fine. It's normal, right? So I want you to either tell a wall, tell a sister, tell a brother, tell a mom, a grandma, a dad, a grandpa. I don't care. Tell someone your prediction and why. So your sentence could sound something like this. I think this text will be about blah, 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 because in the picture I see blah, blah, blah. Go. Okay, so now that you've made your predictions, maybe it's something about a grandma, hint, hint. I don't know, the title does say Grandma's Secret. Maybe it's something about a secret that grandma has. I don't know, because the title says Grandma's Secret. Maybe it has something to do with these ladies that you see singing behind the title. Probably would have been a good idea to make a prediction based on that. We'll see if your prediction is correct. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to read the text. We're going to read Grandma's Secret. Now, you know, in the first read, all you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy. So follow along with me as I read and enjoy Grandma's Secret. Says Annie dreamed of being a famous singer one day. She and her grandmother both liked watching competition shows on TV that transformed ordinary people into singing stars. One night, Grandma brought down a small, dust-covered box from the attic. "I'd like to show you some old photographs," she said. "I think you might find them interesting." One photo showed four girls singing on a stage, gathered around a microphone. They were wearing matching dresses, and their hair was elaborately styled. "Who are those people?" Annie asked. "Look at the girl on the top right," Grandma said. Annie leaned in closer, peering at the photograph. "Oh my gosh, Grandma, that's you! What are you doing?" "I'm singing on a TV show with my group, the Wildflowers," Grandma said. "It was about 40 years ago. We recorded a song and it played on the radio. It was so popular that we were asked to perform it on TV." "Why didn't you tell me this before?" asked Annie. Grandma smiled. "Oh, I guess I just haven't thought about it for a long time." Now it was Annie's turn to smile. "So, Grandma, what else have you done that you haven't told me about?" All right, so I hope that you enjoyed Grandma's Secret. Was your prediction correct? Did you think that Grandma was in a singing group that performed on TV 40 years ago? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know. Okay, but now what we're going to do is we're going to practice that asking and answering questions to make sure we fully understand Grandma's Secret, right? So what we're going to do the second time is we're going to read this text again, okay? And as we read the second time, I want you to think about what questions can you come up with about Grandma and her secret. Again, thinking about the character, so thinking about Grandma, thinking about the setting, so where is Grandma, where was Grandma, and finally thinking about the events. What did Grandma do? What are Annie and Grandma doing right now? So thinking about what questions can you come up with as you read, because you're going to be responsible for writing one of those questions on your own, right? So follow along with me, thinking of your questions. It says, Annie dreamed of being a famous singer one day. She and her grandmother both liked watching competition shows on TV that transformed ordinary people into singing stars. One night, Grandma brought down a small, dust-covered box from the attic. "I'd like to show you some old photographs," she said. "I think you might find them interesting." One photo showed four girls singing on a stage, gathered around a microphone. They were wearing matching dresses, and their hair was elaborately styled. "Who are those people?" Annie asked. "Look at the girl on the right," Grandma said. Annie leaned closer, peering on the photograph. "Oh my gosh, Grandma, that's you! What are you doing?" "I'm singing on a TV show with my group, the Wildflowers," Grandma said. "It was about 40 years ago. We recorded a song and it played on the radio. It was so popular that we were asked to perform it on TV." "Why didn't you tell me this before?" asked Annie. Grandma smiled. "Oh, I guess I just haven't thought about it for a long time." Now it was Annie's turn to smile. "So, Grandma, what else have you done that you haven't told me about?" Okay, so what I want you to do right now is I want you to pause. I want you to think about what questions can you come up with about Grandma, about like the character, the events, and the setting. So about Grandma, the events, that what happened, and where is this story taking place. So think to yourself right now, what questions can you come up with? Try to come up with 2 questions. Okay, so I hope that while you were thinking that you came up with 2 questions about either the character, the events, or the setting. Ms. Bornhorst is helping you with one of those questions, right? So one question that I came up with while listening to this story is this. It says, who are the girls in the picture, right? So before I even started reading, I came up with a question because those illustrations are helpful. Remember, those illustrations help us understand what's happening in the text. So the first question I have is, who are the girls in the picture? Right? Now, you already have this on your note catcher. The second box is what you're going to write right now. You are going to come up with that second question that you came up with as just a moment ago, right? So I want you to pause the video and record the question that you have in this box down below. So pause and record. Okay. Now that you have recorded your second question, so you should have 2 questions written on your note catcher, we're going to read it one more time, but remember, you can rewind it and you can go back if you need it to be read aloud, right? Okay, so we're going to read it through one more time. You're going to listen for evidence from the text to answer your 2 questions. So, who are the girls in the picture? And whatever the answer is to your second question. Again, evidence from the text, right? So again, one more time, we're reading, you're looking for evidence to answer your questions. It says, Annie dreamed of being a famous singer one day. She and her grandmother both liked watching competition shows on TV that transformed ordinary people into singing stars. One night, Grandma brought down a small dust-covered box from the attic. I'd like to show you some old photographs, she said. I think you might find them interesting. One photo showed 4 girls singing on a stage, gathered around a microphone. They were wearing matching dresses, and their hair was elaborately styled. Who are those people? Annie asked. Look at the girl on the top right, Grandma said. Annie leaned in closer, peering at the photograph. Oh my gosh, Grandma, that's you! What are you doing? I'm singing on a TV show with my group, the Wildflowers, Grandma said. It was about 40 years ago. We recorded a song and it played on the radio. It was so popular that we were asked to perform it on TV. Why didn't you tell me this before? Asked Annie. Grandma smiled. Oh, I guess I just haven't thought about it for a long time. Now it was Annie's turn to smile. So, Grandma, what else have you done that you haven't told me about? All right. At this time, what I would like for you to do, you now have your 2 questions. You've listened to the story 3 times, but you can go back and listen to it again if you need to. Hint, hint, right? I want you to take this time now. You're going to pause the video and you're going to complete the chart. Remembering that in this story details, you need to use quotation marks because you're pulling it directly from the text. And then this answer space is your thinking based on what you learned from the text, right? So at this time, pause the video and complete your chart. All right, now that you have your chart completed and all of your thinking is complete, what you're going to do now is you're going to take a picture of your note catcher, either with your phone or some other device, okay? And you're going to take a picture and you're going to send it to your homeroom teacher. So my class, that's me, right? Some of you, you might need to send it to either Miss Shadow or you can send it to Mr. Shortridge, whoever is your, or Miss James or Miss Wen, right? So whoever is your homeroom teacher, I want you to send a picture of your note card to them, either through text or through email, your choice. So at this time, take a picture and send it to your teacher. So pause the video, take a picture, and send. All right, now that you have sent your response to your teacher, you are going to do your exit ticket. So let me move this out of the way so that you can read the full exit ticket. Okay, all right. So what you're going to do for your exit ticket, you're going to first write this at the bottom of your note catcher. You have a space on your note catcher to record your thinking on your exit ticket. It says, describe the secret that Grandma had been keeping. Why didn't Annie know about it? Record your answer on your note catcher. Be sure to write complete sentences and use evidence from the text to support your answer. Feel free to go back and listen to the story again if you need to. I'm going to read it one more time. You're going to record this on your notebook paper and on your note catcher. It says, describe the secret that Grandma had been keeping. Why didn't Annie know about it? Record your answer on your note catcher. Be sure to write complete sentences and use evidence from the text to support your answer. Feel free to go back and listen to the story again if you need to. So at this time, pause the video and record your answer on your note catcher. Okie dokie, welcome back. So now that you recorded your answer on your note catcher and it's already in complete sentences and you already have evidence to explain your answer, right? If you don't, go back and fix it, please. What you're going to do now is you're going to comment. So remember, when you see this blue comment button, that means that you're going to need to write your exit ticket response in the comment section under this video, right? So it says type your exit ticket response in the comment section under the video. Now remember, you need to include these 3 things: your name, complete sentences, right? And evidence to support, support your response. If you do not have those 3 things, you need to make sure that you go back and fix it, right? So name, complete sentences, and evidence to support your response. Once you have those 3 things, please submit your comment and Ms. Bornhorst or another 3rd grade teacher will get back to you as soon as we see those comments. Alrighty. Well, at this time, I'm so thankful that you guys were able to join me today. Thanks for learning with me. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the week, and I can't wait to be back with you again next week. If you have any questions or need help with anything, feel free to give me a call, send me an email, as well as to the other 3rd grade teachers. Know that we love you and that we miss you, and that we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.